Before we start today's episode of the I'm F.I.N.E podcast, we want to make sure to thank our partners at Trio. Don't wait, be ready and connect with Trio today. FAFSA applications are now open, and the sooner you apply, the higher chances you have of receiving the full grant. The Trio staff at Governor State University are the perfect people to help. Trio can help with the financial aid process and scholarship searches. Trio can provide fee waivers for admissions applications, assist with the admission application processes, online tutoring, help with GED referrals, and provide payments for the GED test. Trio provides various avenues for career explorations as well as resume and interview preparation. Trio can also help you understand and complete your FAFSA application. So if you're ready to take the next step on your educational journey, contact Trio at 708-235-3352 for more information, or visit their website at www.govst.edu/TRIOEOC. Welcome to another episode of the I'm F.I.N.E podcast, where a couple of knuckle-dragging veterans unpack the world of mental health as unprofessionally and informally as possible. I am Eric Peterson.
And I'm Brad Stozick.
And today's episode is all about failing miserably. We're going to talk about the impact of setbacks and failures within the context of mental health and personal growth, building resilience, and developing a growth mindset. So through a few of our successes and many, many, many failures, we hope that we can take you from being freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional to truly being fine. And who better to help me point out some of my failures than our guest, my wife, Ashley Peterson.
Welcome to the I'm F.I.N.E podcast with your freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional hosts, Eric Peterson and Brad Stozick.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Welcome back to another session.
Welcome.
Another marriage session. I'm your host.
It's our quarterly session.
And it's fitting, too, because it's about failure, just like real therapy sessions.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Strap it. Yeah, so you had the idea for this episode, which I thought was a pretty good idea. Setbacks and failures.
Which is surprising, right?
Yeah.
Coming from me.
Right.
I don't.
Well, because when I reached out to you, I was just like, hey, man, if we talk about setbacks and failures, we're going to have to talk about a lot of our own personal setbacks and failures. And you were just like, I don't got anything to add there, bro.
Nothing.
Yep. It's just going to be us talking. Just everything's all great, man. It's good.
Can't complain.
Hey, sucks to suck,
Sucks
right?
to suck.
Fucking losers. So I think, and we've talked about this in other episodes, some of the ones that stood out to me was like overcoming adversity with Lonnie Bedwell. You know, he talked about a lot of the setbacks that he dealt with, a lot of the failures that he's gone through. And I think that over the course of the past few years, setbacks and failures have really been, I don't know, I've been way more aware of my own setbacks and failures, especially as an adult, especially when you become a parent, and then you've been dealing with COVID and the economy and all this other shit, and it's like it's setback after setback, failure after failure, and it's really difficult. So I thought it was a good idea, and I'm glad that you suggested doing this, man.
Yeah.
So before we talk about all of the times that we've failed, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what setbacks are and what failures are. So setbacks are more temporary or unexpected obstacles that disrupt progress or hinder the achievement of personal or mental health related goals. They can arise from various sources, such as external circumstances, internal challenges, or unexpected events. Examples of setbacks in mental health and personal growth might include experiencing relapse in symptoms, facing rejection or criticism, encountering unexpected obstacles in therapy or treatment, or struggling with setbacks in relationships or career aspirations. So that's setbacks. Can you guys think of any examples of any setbacks in your guys' lives?
Well, yeah.
Like what?
Like KCC. I had a difficult time trying to get through that, and I still haven't fully, completed that.
So going to community college after high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the setback? What was the issue?
Financial issues at first. And then it came to time after that, not having the time to do it. And then when you finally have the time, back to not having the money to do it. And it was just back and forthness between time and not having enough money.
Time is a huge setback. A lot. Especially when you're trying to go back to school, you're trying to better yourself in any sort of way. Like I think about all of the things that I would love to do, like for myself. You know what I mean? And you can't do it because of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially in our position, when you were going to KCC, we were working we were both working, I don't know, 2 jobs, both of us. You know what I mean?
Trying to take a class here and there.
Right. Just trying to do your best. And again, you didn't have enough time to dedicate to the classes that you were even in, much less take more.
No, by the time you figured that out, where like when I started working at Cigna, I was going to school at KCC. Cigna promoted me, but they wouldn't adjust to my, school schedule. So I either had to choose keep a roof over our head or go to school. And obviously I didn't go to school. I tried though for a little bit. I did that first time when you deployed the first time, I took that summer off so I could plan our wedding and go back to school.
Yeah.
I was trying to get into the PTA program.
Yeah.
And then finally I get to the point where I'm ready to take it seriously. And I go back to KCC and I find out that, all my hard work that I did do no longer mattered because they changed the curriculum. So I would have to take more classes. And I'm like, I already spent 6 to 7 years doing this. I can't continue to keep doing this to myself. It's just too exhausting.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel worth it. But I won't say it was a complete setback because I did enjoy some of the classes I took and it helped me, in my career. So when I do, when I put on my resume, yeah, I took some college. Those classes were important. I learned something from them and I do use them. Do I want to go back? Absolutely. It's just, again, time.
Yeah. I think as you're talking about that, a big setback for me with my education was COVID because I've talked about this before. I was going for my bachelor's.
You're so close too.
I am like 12 credits away from my bachelor's.
Like 2 semesters, I think they said.
Not even. It was like a semester and then like 1 class. But when COVID hit, I was going to Governor State University and I had a perfect GPA.
I know.
Up until then, just Asian as fuck. Like
you didn't even study or anything. You just took the class.
Just really good at school.
Sucks to suck. No, I cared.
Good.
I cared. I loved the classes that I was in. So I mean, I don't know. I just at the time, what are you laughing about?
What are you laughing about? Because I don't want to say it.
Say it. Brad.
I rough school.
I arrive at school. Okay, no. I think that I really enjoyed what I was doing. I was going for general psychology, and COVID hit. When COVID hit, at the time, Lily was 3. Cece was just born. So I had a newborn, a 3-year-old, and a wife who I think was just returning back to work at the time. So for me, I'm like, oh, I need to get another job. I immediately stopped giving a shit about school. And I got a second job on the side. And I was like doing some other work just to try to make sure more money was coming in because I didn't know what was going to happen. And so immediately all of my grades took a nosedive. Well,
Not
2 classes.
Grades.
2 classes took a nosedive. One of them, the one that required the most like papers, I fucking just I didn't do anything. And that one I got an F. And then the other one, I got like a B.
You've never gotten an F. I don't think you said ever.
Yeah. Well, and it was hard because it was new for my professors too. Yeah. They hadn't been through a pandemic. So they were just like, they understood my plight. I told them like, hey, I had to get a second job. Like, I got to take care of my family. I don't know what's happening with this shit. And they were just like, I understand, but you still have to turn the papers in. And I get it. You know what I mean? A friend of mine told me I could probably go to the school and do something about that grade because of the circumstances and maybe just retake the semester. But time, I don't have the time. You know, I barely had the time then. You know what I mean? What about you?
Yeah. School also.
Yeah, but you graduated.
Yeah,
you
you
got an
graduated.
education.
I did.
All fancy.
Well, okay, a setback though. I took the whole COVID year off, so that pushed me a year back because again, uncertainty. I wasn't sure, like if I was going to catch something and then bring something home to the kids or whatever. So I just stayed home. And then I changed my major like 4 times because of people telling me I couldn't do it.
No.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I hated that. I was made me angry when you told me that.
Yeah.
It was other people at your school that would tell you that. Like, you can't listen to that shit.
I know, but it didn't really. Now that I think about it, I probably wouldn't be. I might be a good teacher, but I don't think I would want to teach.
What grade?
I wanted to teach high school.
I think you'd have been a good high school teacher.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Any other setbacks that you guys can think of immediately? That just really come to mind?
Nope.
Sucks. You suck.
Nope. Awesome.
No, I mean,
do I save the obvious one or should I? I don't know what's coming up in the.
But you're a fucking White Sox fan?
Well, no. I mean the other one.
That's more of a failure. We haven't talked about that.
Oh, okay.
Setbacks. Yeah, go ahead.
The whole like being blind thing. Should I save that or should I?
Nah, man. I mean, save it for what?
Later in the
next
episode, like building up suspense. Like, do people know? Do they not know?
Well, now
like,
they know.
Why is this guy always wearing sunglasses? Every episode. Yeah. Pretty significant setback, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, it was whatever. It's not terrible, but it's fine.
Yeah. No, it was a pretty big. I mean, in all aspects of my life, mental health, everything.
Well, how long did it take you to get back on your feet when you had to deal with that?
Probably like I started getting back up at like 3 years, and now it's been about 5-6 years, and I feel like I'm still not all the way up yet, but I'm much closer than I was.
Yeah,
but it took about 3 years for me to be okay, I guess.
What about being pregnant?
What do you mean?
Like, I know that there's so many things that are positive about being pregnant, but do you also believe that being pregnant can be a setback in some ways?
Oh, well, yeah, because it changes your whole life in a different way. It's hard for you guys to really fully understand, but
I get it.
When
I totally understand.
You've had a cold.
What I mean? I've had a cold. All right. Yeah.
But it really does like affect you. So, and then silly stuff too that it affects. So when you become pregnant, there's certain things you can't do. And one of them was like finishing my tattoo. That's kind of selfish to say, but I had to wait.
To be selfish.
I know, but I was waiting to get this cover up done, and you start the outline, they start shading, and then you go in for your second appointment, and you're like, I feel funny. I'm just gonna take a test just to be sure, and then you're like, shit. Do I still go? But then you think if I go and something does happen, then I'm gonna blame this. I'm gonna be resentful. So I didn't do it, obviously. And then, you have the baby and you're like, yay, I can get my tattoo. And then you figure out you're going to start nursing and that's going well. You still can't get your tattoo. So that's 2 years now that I have to carry this, piece on my back that just doesn't look pretty yet. And it's embarrassing. And you're already going through your body dysphobia. It's just, everything's not where it's supposed to be. You don't feel great. And you feel like the person you were before, you can't be anymore, especially when I was like working out and going to yoga and I was really in shape. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time for that anymore. And that's a setback because I put my mental health and my physical health, on the back burner because that's what it requires of me.
Yeah. Do you hear that, kids? Do you hear that? Do you understand
But I
what you're
love
putting
you.
your fucking parents through? No, I mean, yeah, it's really difficult. And then you have to come back from that and figure out who you are. And I feel like the whole aspect of carrying a life inside of you and then just not. That's weird as shit to me to like understand
it's the weirdest
how that
feeling.
feels. And then,
Especially
you know what I mean?
if you
So
get
mentally
like
it's a setback because how are you supposed to think about just other day-to-day shit when you're thinking about everything else that's going on?
Well, think about with like Lily. I wasn't expecting to get a C-section. I thought I was going to have a natural birth. So when you get a C-section, you require more time to, heal. So that's not something you prepare for. And that also is a setback because now you had a major surgery and you have this new baby and you're expected to do all these things and your body just, you're trying to take care of it and you can't. And you want to go back to the gym. You want to be active again and you can't.
Right.
It's not like a procedure you have planned,
Right.
Not in our case, at least.
No, Brad and I definitely understand. Like I said, we've had colds and shit, so
I get it.
Failures. So failures are instances where one's efforts or attempts do not lead to the desired outcome, resulting in things like disappointment, frustration, feelings of inadequacy. In the context of mental health and personal growth, failures can manifest as setbacks in achieving recovery or wellness goals, difficulty in managing symptoms effectively, or challenges in implementing healthy coping strategies. It's essential to recognize that failure is a natural part of the learning process and does not define one's worth or potential for growth. So in the same vein, what are some times that you guys think that you've failed? Do you have any experience with failure?
I think in my mind, my entire Marine Corps career.
Wow. Why?
Damn.
Because
Sort
of the
of.
job?
Yeah. And I kind of.
Fuck you, dude.
No, I did it
I
to my-
don't think you failed.
That's fair. I did it to myself though. Right. I kind of told on myself. So we're opening your contract. So I kind of ended up, you know what I mean?
No.
No.
You chose a job that was needed. The Marines needed somebody to do that job, and you did that job. So I understand why you might see it as a failure because you're comparing it to other MOSs, other jobs, other things that other people did in the service, but you can't compare your experiences to other people's experiences.
Right.
Because I was doing the same shit. Like I didn't feel like I was in enough combat. Like I was in little bits, but
especially after talking to older veterans.
Oh my God. Yeah. If you ever want to feel inadequate.
Holy shit. So you're an older veteran than me.
No. You have a button on there that does that.
I don't know which one it is. So yeah, I mean, you want to feel inadequate, go talk to like a Vietnam veteran, a Korean War veteran. I talked to World War II veterans, and I talked to a dude who was 19 at the Battle of the Bulge, and he obviously remembered every second of it. And you hear those stories and you're like, I'm not shit.
Yeah.
But I didn't do I wasn't clearing buildings, pushing through Fallujah. I wasn't doing any of that crazy shit. We were doing security missions and we get shot at from time to time or hit an ID or get mortared, but it wasn't like house to house to house to house all day, every day. Yeah. It wasn't those Black Hawk Down firefights. I wasn't in any special operations. I was just infantry. And so I always compared myself to those that did more. And so it's just, that's why I'm like, dude, it's not, you did your fucking job. That was your job. You did your job. Did it well. So I don't think that's a failure personally.
That's fair.
But I understand your opinion. What else? Any other things that you can think of?
Go, Brad.
I feel like there's something I should be saying about my vision. I just can't think.
No, bro, I wasn't going to say anything about that.
I just felt like,
bro, you're a husband. If you're a husband, we fail every day.
Oh, yeah.
We have kids. Like, I mean, I think if you're in a relationship period, relationships mean like that you fail. Not. Let me rephrase it.
You lose.
Actually, you know what? I'm just going to keep it exactly how I said it. Take it exactly how I said it. No, it's just when you're in a relationship, you try and you make mistakes and you fail. and then you figure it out and then you work harder and then you have another setback or you fail at this, you fail at that. I failed at communicating. I failed at, showing up for something. I failed at listening. I failed at whatever. Like you're with somebody else. So you have that person that's not necessarily judging you, but that's going to keep you honest and it's going to call you like, this is what you're doing.
No, I'll call you out.
I have no idea what she's talking about. We haven't fought
ever
in hours. Minutes. We haven't fought in minutes. But I mean, would you agree or disagree? Like if you're in a relationship, unless you're just in your relationship thinking like I'm always right, like I'm shit. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think that out loud. But I
you better not. She'd be step.
Well, it's like you're constantly analyzing the things that you're doing, and like we had our episode about arguing. Like when you're wrong about something, and if you're arguing because emotionally you just feel like you have to say whatever it is you're saying, but you're wrong. Like in that moment, I feel like I'm failing myself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and I'm failing the relationship. When you make a mistake in like your kid falls or your kid cries or something, or you yell at your kid, you feel like you failed. You know what I mean? Like in those, relationships like that, like I feel like failure is a part of the relationship. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. You know what I mean? It's just how you learn, how you grow. It shouldn't be a negative way.
Yeah.
It's part of growth. That's how you grow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Ashley, I didn't ask you, babe. Do you have any times that you can think of that you failed?
I was thinking about, when with Lily, I should have waited till I gave birth to her naturally. I felt like by getting induced when I did and pushing that, it affected so much. We found out she wasn't as, far along as we thought she was going to be. Yeah. She ended up developing, some lung issues, and that took, a lot of pressure on both of us. And then I wasn't able to nurse completely. So I wasn't able to finish that. And, now she's having to be on an inhaler. She's got to go on formula. These are all things that could have possibly been prevented if I just waited. And
maybe.
I know, but that's how I feel.
Right,
that's that for me, especially going through postpartum depression. At the same time, that failure was just so much on me, and I just had to keep pushing through, especially as she got older. We're so lucky that she, is fine now, but still during that time, it was very stressful, and I did put a lot of blame on myself.
Yeah, that's not fair though.
I feel better now.
I was going to say,
yeah, but that's because she's, okay. But if she would have been, the worst case scenario, like the doctor said, if she would have had to get the lung removed, I would have been devastated, especially thinking that I was the one that caused that.
I understand that that's how you feel, and you have every right to feel the way that you feel, but it's also frustrating to hear that on my end, because it's like, I know that you were also working and doing all of this other stuff while you were pregnant, and like you were doing everything within your power. It's not like you specifically chose a behavior or something that you knew was going to affect you negatively, which could in turn affect your child. Like you were doing everything that you could, and the stress of the things that are outside of your control caused the issues that caused that. You know what I'm saying? So I know that, you hold yourself, you take ownership of that, but I just think, I'm glad you can give yourself some grace on it now.
Yeah, but if, worst case scenario, would I have been able to give myself grace then? So it's, I got to think about these going forward when I make important decisions. I really got to think it through.
Yeah.
We didn't know. The doctor really didn't inform us. I was looking at other people's experiences. They had really good experiences. They recommended it. They did it for all their, pregnancies, and they had healthy babies. I just assumed we were making the right decision.
Yeah. But like you said, she is happy and healthy now. And whatever she had like a thickening in her pleural space. And I remember like it was our first kid. You know what I mean? So like
not being able to afford the inhalers. Oh my God.
The inhalers were like $200 a month.
200 for one. 100 for the other.
2 inhalers for a while. And then we went to, what was that? children's hospital up north.
I can't think of it.
We had to bring her to that children's hospital up north. And the doctor was just like, we can do this test or this test or this test. And it's my first, I'm like, dude,
she
do
was
whatever.
6 months.
I was like, do whatever you would do if this was your kid. Do that. You know what I mean? Like, do it all. And they never found anything. There was a thickening, and then the thickening went away. So yeah, that was kind of a bit more of a setback, I think. So both setbacks and failures can be very significant learning opportunities for both personal growth and resilience building in the context of mental health, right? So they provide opportunities to reflect on one's experiences, identify areas for improvement, and develop adaptive coping strategies to overcome future challenges. Additionally, navigating setbacks and failures can foster qualities such as perseverance, resilience, self-awareness, all of which are essential for promoting mental well-being and achieving long-term personal growth. Would you guys agree with all that?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's really important to be able to, it's important to have those experiences because of all the opportunity that you have to grow from them. And as hard as it was doing all of that with our daughter when she was 6 months old, it made every other doctor's appointment after that way easier to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm not staying with my 6-month-old daughter in her hospital bed. You know what I mean? Like, everything else was a little bit easier, and it made me appreciate everything a lot more, I think. What are some of the most common setbacks you think veterans encounter, Brad?
I think loneliness is a big one.
Yeah.
And I mean, substance abuse is another setback I feel like veterans face quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think having like healthy like relationships, like spousal relationships too, is a big setback.
Oh, yeah. Relationship issues can be pretty big.
Yeah.
Ashley, is there anything you can think of from the spouse's side of things that you think would be a setback that veterans encounter?
I mean, the communication, it's just not there.
Yeah.
You guys have experienced something different than what, we're used to. We're trying to be there for you, but you guys don't know how to communicate. That's not taught to you. And we, on our end, I can only speak for myself, but I felt like it was frustrating because I wanted to be there for you so badly, and to not be able to, get through that anger that you would hold, or that resentment that you hold because you're just gone, you're missing out on things, you're not able to be involved and back at home, especially if big life-changing moments are happening. I think it's difficult because we can't communicate. When you came home when your mom was first sick, you were just so angry, and I couldn't help you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to communicate with you.
Yeah.
It was, luckily we were able to get through it together, but I just remember the first time we walked in that hospital, I just let you wander around aimlessly because you were just so angry. And I couldn't redirect you because you were just...
I just didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I remember, so my mom, this is the first time my mom battled cancer, and that was in 2013.
Something like that.
It was after we got married, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she had to go up to Rush Hospital. I remember some things about that specifically, talking about setbacks. I remember when I found out, because I was in Gardez, Afghanistan, and I remember my room because I just laid in my bed and fucking cried when I found that out, because I was like, what? My entire world just got shattered in that moment. You know what I mean? Because you're overseas and you're so
isolated.
Isolated, but also you're so focused on the dangers and the threats of your environment that it's almost like you forget that bad shit can happen back home. You know what I mean? And that's why I was just that blew me away. And then I came home, and it was after one of my mom's surgeries where she had I think it was her liver. It was like 5 times the normal size. And so they had to cut her open and take out part of her liver. And I remember I walked into the room and my mom was there and she was in recovery and she had staples from like just under her neck all the way down below her belly button. And I saw that and I just like walked out of the room and I was super pissed. You know what I mean? Like the fact that things like that that this is a situation that my mom is dealing with. Like I was so pissed about that. So yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying on the communication side and having some issues expressing the things that I was feeling. And I think that's also because it's like, because I'm still in the mindset that I had to be in when I was overseas, which is like whatever it takes to get the job done, whatever it takes. Just keep focusing on that. Don't talk about your shit. Like just put it down deep.
Yeah, you don't have feelings.
Yeah.
If they wanted you to have feelings, they would have issued them
to you.
That's what they told us.
Yeah. So it's like, it makes it that much harder to have that relationship when you come home, which is very hard. What are some things that you guys think you have learned from failures and setbacks?
Patience.
Patience.
Yeah. Patience. What else?
Lots of patience.
Can you expand on that?
Well, now, like when I'm getting frustrated with the girls and when I've had some really bad like fits with them where I feel like I'm getting a little vulnerable here. When I yell at the girls, sometimes I feel like I sound like my mom.
Right.
And I don't like the way that it sounds. And it brings back a like darker side that I remember. And I don't want
trauma.
Right. And I don't want the girls to feel that way. And I don't want to cause that for them. So I know now I'm patient. I'm understanding. They're 4. They're almost 7. They are sisters. They're close in age. They're going to have these arguments. They're going to be argumentative with me. They're going to fight back. They're going to test boundaries. They're going to be loud. They're going to be this way because they're children.
Right.
And I have to remember that. And though my parents weren't patient with me and allowing, that safe space for me to be a child, I'm now going to allow that for them.
Yeah.
And that requires patience because you know how loud they can be and
I don't know what you're talking about.
And how much they batter back and forth. But I'm able to breathe about it now. Does that make sense?
We have a basket in our kitchen that has earplugs in it.
Yes, we do.
For like little bags of disposable ones, just for when people come over and they're not used to like little girls that like ours that fight and yell and scream. And like Cece is like that X-Man.
She squeals.
She's like the X-Man that like has the supersonic screaming power.
Yes.
And she'll just do it because she can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so get her with her buddy Theo and it's like,
but because you went through the things that you went through growing up, when you have to discipline our kids, which is obviously well within your right, I could see how that invokes a couple of things. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, you definitely learn patience from that. And holy shit, having a kid teaches you patience for sure. And so much of it, like whenever I read stuff about it or watch videos or TikToks about it, people always talk about how having I've seen this more lately, and I think I agree with it. It's like, parenting is more about controlling your emotions, not your kids' emotions, because you can't control their emotions. You have to control your own. And that's why I think I've also learned how to improve my communication with you and improve our relationship, because when you're fed up with the kids and you get into an argument with kids, I'll go talk to them and vice versa. Because at least that way I can still be calm and I can talk to them and make sure that everything's okay and that they understand that these feelings that they're feeling, it's okay.
And I appreciate that because that helps me too.
Yeah.
you know, they hear you and they come and talk to me and it gets better. And again, vice versa. We really have improved on that. So I appreciate you doing that. Cause again, I wish I would have experienced that growing up. I wish that was the case for me too.
I always try to do the Bob Saget thing.
Yeah, gotta do it.
You know what I mean?
We
Full
said
House.
that the last time.
Like you always just want to like,
hey, Michelle.
like, you just want to make sure that your kids know that you care.
Yeah.
And I also want them to know that if they're having an emotional moment where they're breaking down, that it's all right.
Yeah.
And I'll hug them and let them know like, hey, it's okay.
Mhm.
I love you. It's totally fine that you're feeling this. You know what I mean? But you just have to breathe.
Mhm.
Breathe with me and try to get them to calm down and not let them feel as anxious about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think you see that. You see the positive outcomes of that
Mhm.
with our kids sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. Like we had a new babysitter today and she was just like, yeah, they were really well behaved. And then you hear that and you're like, what? Anytime I hear that, I'm like, no shit. Look at us. Oh my God. Yeah. So I definitely think you can learn patience. What are some other things you think you've learned? Brad?
I've learned positivity and how to be humble.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that?
Sure. We've talked before how angry I was as a teenager and growing up and stuff. And I don't know, losing my vision really, my whole outlook on life has changed. I just feel more positive about everything.
And you didn't know why you were angry, right?
No, I had no idea.
But you were just very angry so much so that other people noticed it.
Oh yeah.
When you were a kid?
Yeah.
Was it because you were the only boy? You were just angry about that?
I don't know.
Why can't I be a girl?
I'm a pretty girl.
But you carried that.
Yeah.
And then it took losing your vision to be able to get over that and turn that into a positive. And you almost wonder, and you brought this up to me, like how destructive that could have been.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
anger.
Oh yeah.
If you would have just carried it on, what could have happened from that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what did you do instead of being like, what did you do to get your anger out? What was your outlet?
I didn't. I just kept it in, and every once in a while I'd blow up,
Okay.
and then it would just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it would just reset.
Mm.
And it just, yeah.
We a lot. So
Yeah.
as far as the impact that setbacks and failures have on mental health, what kind of emotions do you guys think you feel when you fail or encounter a setback? Like, what do you feel about yourself or the situation?
That gut feeling, that's heavy gut feeling is awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel motivated sometimes. Sometimes failure helps motivate me.
Oh, definitely. Failure motivates the shit out of me.
Mhm. For example, I had like 27 jobs ago.
It's like 27, 28. Oh, well, was that like a couple years ago then? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah,
27 jobs ago?
yeah. Well, I had started at this position and I thought it was like the ideal position for me. Everything about it was perfect at the time, I thought. And the job just didn't work out and I ended up having to resign. And that was a big hit on my, my confidence right then and there. Here, I thought I was going to be finally creating something for myself, a career for myself, something I think I would really enjoy doing. And I just, I remember coming home and I cried about it. And then, even that night I'm updating my resume and I'm getting out there and I found a job within a week. And
That's resilient.
like, that's what I did. And was it the job that I wanted? No, I ended up finding something else shortly after that. But
25 jobs ago.
25. But it helped me, some people would hold on to that. And again, it runs in my family where when something brings you down, it keeps you down. And I'm not that person. I'm going to continue to keep moving forward.
Right.
I'm not going to let anything stop me.
Right.
And even if it's not something I want, I don't settle and I keep going forward. That's why, that was 27 jobs ago.
Yep. No, I like that. And I agree. And it's good to be motivated by your failure. That's what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean?
And you learn from it, so you don't continue to do that again. That's why I'm still at 27.
Lucky number 27.
It really isn't 27, guys. Please don't think
It's probably more than that, to be real.
we counted, but we're real close.
It was more. It was more than 27.
It was not 20.
So, yes, it can make you feel those things. Motivation's great, but the issue can be when you have unresolved setbacks and unresolved failures, because those things can contribute to mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, PTSD, and like Brad talked about earlier, substance use disorders. So to get into that a little bit, so with depression, unresolved setbacks can lead to feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, and worthlessness, which are all hallmark symptoms of depression. When individuals experience setbacks without effectively coping with or processing them, they may internalize negative beliefs about themselves, their abilities, and future prospects, leading to persistent feelings of sadness, emptiness, and despair. Chronic stress resulting from unresolved setbacks can also disrupt brain chemistry and contribute to imbalances in neurotransmitters associated with mood regulation, which further increases the risk of depression. Anxiety. Setbacks can trigger feelings of uncertainty, fear, and worry about the future, which are central features of anxiety disorders. When setbacks are unresolved or perceived as threatening, individuals may experience heightened levels of anxiety, hypervigilance, and avoidance behavior in an attempt to cope with or avoid potential future setbacks. This can create a cycle of anxiety where individuals become increasingly preoccupied with potential negative outcomes and struggle to relax or feel at ease, even in non-threatening situations. That's something that I feel like I really dealt with, like I used to deal with a lot. Like the thought of the negative outcomes would give me so much anxiety just thinking about these things that didn't even happen, like we just talked about in the last episode with hypervigilance. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So setbacks that involve traumatic events such as combat experiences, accidents, or interpersonal violence can increase the risk of developing PTSD if they are left unresolved. Individuals may experience intrusive memories, flashbacks, nightmares, and intense emotional distress related to the setback, as well as avoidant behavior and hyperarousal symptoms. Without adequate support and treatment, unresolved setbacks can perpetuate the cycle of trauma and exacerbate symptoms of PTSD, which makes it difficult for individuals to function in daily life and maintain healthy relationships. And the last one, substance use disorders. So individuals may turn to alcohol, drugs, or other substances as a maladaptive coping mechanism to numb emotional pain, escape from distressing thoughts and feelings, or self-medicate symptoms of depression, anxiety, or PTSD associated with unresolved setbacks. Substance use can provide temporary relief or distraction from the underlying issues, but ultimately it exacerbates the mental health symptoms and leads to a cycle of dependence, addiction, and future further setbacks. Additionally, substance use can impair judgment, increase impulsivity, and interfere with problem-solving skills, making it even more challenging to address the underlying issues contributing to setbacks. Yeah, like substance use, like I see it a lot with some of the veterans that I work with, where they're doing so well for so long, and then something happens. Usually it's a relationship, not necessarily like with their partner, but I had a veteran recently, something his father said to him made him want to start drinking, and he'd been sober for a really long time. And like those little setbacks, so often you want to grab something to numb the pain, just so you don't think about it for 5 seconds. And I also draw a parallel to like chronic pain, because I deal with that, where it's like I would do anything to get this pain to go away just for a few seconds, almost. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even care. So you just want to numb the pain. So you drink, you smoke, you do whatever, and it goes away for a little bit, and then everything gets way worse in the back end. You know what I mean? Like everything's just stacking up and getting worse and worse and worse. And so it's really hard, and it's really sad to see somebody struggling with addiction or dealing with those setbacks and running to that, whatever that drug is, whatever that substance is. So I definitely can see the issues with that there.
Substance abuse is definitely, that's a hard one to deal with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So building resilience. Now we're going to get positive.
Yay.
So some strategies for building resilience and coping with setbacks in a healthy and constructive manner. I'm going to list some of these. 1, cultivate a positive mindset. Brad, focusing on maintaining a positive outlook and reframing setbacks as temporary challenges rather than insurmountable obstacles. Practice gratitude and optimism to cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. When you started getting positive after you lost your sight, did you choose to do that? Did you just tell yourself, I need to look at this in a more positive light? Or was it natural? I need to look at something.
Some kind of light.
Yeah. Like, was that a decision that you had to tell yourself you were making? Or how did you create a positive mindset? Because that's what I always talk about with you. That's something that I appreciate and respect about you is how positive of a person you are. So how did you do that?
I think the first step was I forgave the team of doctors and everybody who partook. And I didn't forgive them for them. I forgave them for myself.
It's very important.
Yeah. Because I knew if I didn't, I spent a lot of time hating those people. Yeah. And just for what? It didn't get me anywhere except anger.
And that hate's just going to grow.
Yeah.
And grow and grow and grow until you do something destructive.
Yeah.
So forgiveness has to be like one of the first things.
Yeah. I think that's where it started.
Yeah.
And then after that, I somewhat accepted it.
Yeah.
And accepted it to the point where I was able to be like, okay, this isn't going to change. I can't keep, because I would, like I said before on the show, I would go to bed and be like, okay, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be able to see. And I did that almost every night for like a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I think once I let that go and just finally accepted the fact that like this is my vision now.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let it define me.
Right.
And
sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck. Been hitting the ground running ever since.
And it's an excellent way to cultivate a positive mindset and also demonstrate resiliency. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
The next one, practicing self-compassion. So being kind to yourself, acknowledging that setbacks are a natural part of life, treating yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would offer to a friend facing similar challenges. Like that's important. Like to think about it in that way, because I feel like most people, I don't know, maybe not most people, but a lot of people put others in front of like before themselves.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, treat yourself the way that you would treat somebody that you love. You know what I mean? Like, you have to practice that self-compassion. Developing problem-solving skills. Take a proactive approach to problem solving by breaking down challenges into manageable tasks and identifying practical solutions. Seek support and advice from trusted friends, family members, or mentors when needed. Build social support networks. Surround yourself with supportive friends, family members, colleagues, or fellow veterans who can provide encouragement, guidance, and emotional support during difficult times. Stay connected and reach out for help when needed. You know, you are, what is it? The average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, or whatever the case may be. Like the older that I get, the more I really understand and appreciate just the vibe and the attitudes of the people that I'm surrounding myself with.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I do not have time. And that doesn't mean that you're a negative person. That doesn't mean that you're a terrible person. It just means that, you know, I don't want you I don't need you at my table anymore. Sure. You can be at your table, but I'm at my table. And so I definitely think you need a positive social support network for sure. Practice stress management techniques. Incorporate stress reducing activities into your daily routine, such as mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga, or physical exercise. Prioritize self-care activities that promote relaxation and well-being. I like You have a sort of a ritual. You don't do it all the time.
No.
But I mean, can you talk about your stress management techniques at the end of the day?
I like to wash my face, make sure I feel nice and clean, and then I go and do some yoga in our little space that we have upstairs. We have that nice wheel, so I'll, stretch out my back. And it's just a few minutes of just me, being present and allowing my body to just relax before I go into bed. And I even spray my little spray. Sometimes I light incense. I create a whole little vibe. Mm-hmm. Takes me like 30 minutes to go to bed, but it's comfortable. And then I get myself in a little cocoon.
One time, this was last week, because Ashley will go to bed first and then I'll go to bed like an hour or two later. And so I go into the bedroom and she had this type of stuff playing that you would hear if you were getting a massage by an ocean. Or I don't know, it was like seagulls and water.
There's no
and
water.
Just that's what it sounded like. And then on the television, she had it was like a 12-hour screensaver on YouTube with purple, blue, this moon and dolphins and wolves or something. I felt like I was sleeping in a Lisa Frank
and
Trapper
I had
Keeper.
my little crystal that is sitting on this color changing.
Kind of looks like a dick. And I'm just I'm walking into my bedroom, looking at this, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have some weird dreams tonight, but here we go. But hey, stress management, super important. You gotta have your own, you gotta have, it's nice to have a little bit of a routine for yourself to be able to de-stress a bit. Next one, setting realistic goals. So set achievable goals that align with your values and aspirations. Break them down into smaller, manageable steps. Celebrate your progress and accomplishments along the way, even if it's incremental. It's very, very important. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Take care of your physical health by prioritizing regular exercise, nutritious eating habits, adequate sleep, and avoid unhealthy coping mechanisms such as excessive alcohol or substance use. A healthy body can better withstand stress and adversity. That's what this says. But every military person I know would say otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have 2 hours of sleep. You smoked 3 packs of Marlboro Reds, and the only thing you've been eating is whatever
beef jerky,
and energy drinks,
and Rippets.
Yep.
It's my body's a temple, bro. You don't want to get in this temple. I'm so, I mean, that only makes me think that if we were healthier, man, we would have been way better over there probably. You know what I mean? I would have done a way better job, I think.
That's
if
why
I actually would have got some sleep.
You should have joined the Air Force.
Fucking.
Never. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
No, yeah. If I could have done anything differently, I would have joined the Air Force. 100%. Trying to get her sister when she wanted to join the military. Ashley's sister wanted to join the military, and I was like, "You're joining the Air Force." And then I brought her. Well, I brought her to the recruiter, and every time we went to the recruiter, it was all 4 service members were in there, or all 4 branches were in there. Well, 5, I guess now. Well, no, Space Force is under the Air Force, I think. Anyway, Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force were all at this recruiting station. And every time I would go, the Air Force guy wasn't there. He had to sign up that he was golfing or whatever. And then the Army and the Marine recruiters were in the back of the building, and they would just poke their heads, bro, hey guys. Man, fuck you. You are not tricking me. This is my sister-in-law. She's going in the Air Force. And then she ended up not going to the Air Force. But that's fine. So seek professional support. Don't hesitate to seek help from mental health professionals, counselors, or therapists if you're struggling to cope with setbacks, experiencing persistent distress, any of that stuff. Therapy can provide very valuable support, guidance, and coping strategies tailored to your individual needs. And practice resilience building activities. Engage in activities that promote resilience and self-awareness, such as journaling, creative expression, hobbies, or volunteering. These activities can help you develop a sense of purpose, meaning, and connection to others. All of those things can help when dealing with a setback or failure. Like, yeah, volunteering, oh, man, just makes you feel good. Like, and if you're in a shitty mood, like if you're dealing with a setback or you feel like you failed at something with your job or in a relationship, and then you go and you volunteer with Sleep in Heavenly Peace, build some beds for kids. You know what I mean? You go to the veterans home and you talk to a veteran for a few hours and take them fishing or something like that out front. Like, you know, you feel great. It's a nice way to kind of help you with that. And I think it kind of leads into you giving yourself more compassion, self-compassion, because you know that you're still a good person, you know, and learning from your setbacks. View setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning. Reflect on lessons you've gained from past challenges and use them to inform your future decisions and actions. Embrace failure as a natural part of the learning process and a stepping stone to success. Brad, you said you looked up some stories of people that had failed? Just
like famous people, like so for example, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He was cut from his sophomore basketball team.
Right.
And his coach was like, you're never gonna be at the level you need to be at.
Right.
And he was Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Didn't know that Stephen King, the book Carrie, that was his first book he wrote. It was rejected 30 times by 30 different publishers.
No shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So just like famous people who really, but I mean, not everybody's famous who has setbacks and
but there's a lot of like if you start looking into failures and setbacks for so many people, like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 20 years ago, he dealt with substance use issues and a whole lot of other stuff. Fucking Iron Man. Like he's all right. He's doing fine. You know what I mean? Like you see so many people that have fallen so far down that have picked themselves back up again. And there's always really good stories in sports for sure of people that have been through that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people that have figured it out. I think it was Thomas Edison said something along the lines of like, when he invented the light bulb, what did he say? He's like, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just learned 1,000 ways to not do it or something along those lines. I could be way off in saying that.
I thought it was let there be light, bitches.
I don't know.
Bam.
That was Tesla. Stole it.
Well, but like all those guys, the inventors, they all failed a whole bunch before they figured it out. It was about perseverance. It was about being able to make it through that failure and understand that failure can't stop you. It's a learning experience. You now know that you can't do something this way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Marcus Aurelius had a really good quote. One of my favorite quotes: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Like, I loved that quote. I still love that quote because it's like, yeah, whatever the issue is, like Project Headspace and Timing, we're dealing with veteran suicide. Like, that's a pretty big fucking issue. You know what I mean? And we just throw ourselves into it. And it's like, we have a bunch of veterans that have struggled with those issues themselves. And we're just running straight at it. We're like, fuck it. We're going to figure it out. We're going to go at it. We're not going to, you know what I mean? We're going to, what stands in the way becomes the way. Like, we connect with other people that have been through what we've been through. We're using our setbacks and our failures to help other people. This entire organization started because a friend of mine fucking killed himself. You know what I'm saying? That's literally why everything started. So it's like, how much can you learn from setbacks and failures? If you just let a setback or a failure stop you, then how do you know what you could ever truly achieve in this world? You know what I mean? You're never giving yourself that opportunity, and that's not fair. So definitely want to seek support from trusted friends, family members, fellow veterans, mental health professionals during any times of a setback or crisis. Who do you guys seek support from when you are experiencing a setback or or feel like you failed at something? Who do you guys go to?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
So, For example, if I'm having difficulties with communicating with you relationship wise, we have the new peer support group. So we meet and we talk about it. We talk about what we're struggling. Yeah. The
veteran spousal peer support group, right?
Thank you. And we talk about it. We figure it out. They tell me their experiences, what worked for them, what didn't work for them. And then we work through it together. And then we take what we learned from them and we apply it to ourselves. And, you know, every girl or every person in this group so far, whenever they share something, they always come back with something because of the group. So that's very helpful. When it comes to like parenting, I go to you because I need to know from a trusted source who sees my parenting style, how I'm doing. And you're going to be honest with me and you're going to, you know, help guide me. And then for everything else, I go to like a therapist or a counselor, and I've gone to many counselors throughout the years. And there's a counselor for like marriage counseling. There was a counselor for my depression. There was a counselor for my postpartum depression. There was a counselor for, grief. Yes, exactly. Thank you. And I seek out those professionals who can help me in those situations, and I take what they give me. And what's great about therapy is you don't ever have to be done. I'm done right now with grief therapy. I don't have to go. But if I start to feel this way, or God forbid something else happens, I know I'm going to have to go back, and I know that's okay.
Yeah.
And I know that it's going to help me. And I don't think people take advantage of those resources. They stop so quickly. They don't realize you can go back.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Brad, what about you? Who do you seek support from?
Usually Amanda or just friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. My family, mom, sisters. Usually.
Yeah. I like the peer support group thing is huge.
Mm-hmm. So needed.
The other night, it was a Monday when I brought you.
Yep.
And we were all in there. And we were all sharing similar, just like relationship type issues. Mm-hmm. And everybody had something to say. And everybody, like Ashley was saying, but everybody was like, everybody's situation was like a little different. Mm-hmm. There are similarities, which are nice because you're like, oh, you understand what I'm going through, even though it's like a little different. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, it's because you hear how everybody else responds to it. And then you kind of pick little things that you really like out of that. Like, I really like what Brad said on, as far as how he dealt with this. I like what Ashley said about how she deals with this. And that's something I can start implementing because it just feels very me, and it feels like it's very fitting for my relationship. So I think that the peer support groups, I really think need like a resurgence. Like I know there's groups out there, but in AA and NA and stuff, but I think we need to be putting more emphasis into peer support and peer support groups, especially after COVID, because we're all trying to figure out how to be social again, and we're all dealing with our own problems. And you have the economy and everybody's different financial situations, professional situations. It's so nice to just know that you're not alone and you don't have to be judged. Like you can experience a setback. You can deal with a failure. You can admit that you did something wrong, and it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? And the support groups are so great for that. Therapy is so great for that. Any of those mental health resources are just phenomenal for that kind of stuff. So one last thing I wanted to talk about is developing a growth mindset. So I found a few things about developing growth mindsets, and there's plenty of like TED Talks and stuff out there about that. And I think it's very important. So I wanted to talk about this. So according to Western Governors University, so WGU.edu, a growth mindset means that you thrive on challenge. You don't see failure as a way to describe yourself, but as a springboard for growth and developing your abilities. Your intelligence and talents are all susceptible to growth. So, yeah, I mean, a fixed mindset's just saying like, I'm never going to get any better. I'm never going to change. This is exactly how it's always going to be. It's like the old school mentality of thinking, right? But if you understand that everything you are, everything that you know, everything that you're good at it can still improve. It can still get better, and that's okay. Do you guys think that you have a growth mindset?
Now I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm
definitely do, Brad.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I guess a little.
So here are a couple of ways to develop a growth mindset, or a few ways, and I like these. So the first step, I should say, here are some steps on developing a growth mindset. First one, listen to the mindset voice inside of you. So the internal dialogue, your internal dialogue. What if you fail? If you don't try, nobody else will see you fail. That means that you have a fixed mindset voice in your head. It's important to listen to your internal mindset voice so you can truly discover what type of mindset you have. This is the first step to successfully changing your mindset. It's like, I say the same thing about trusting your gut. You have to trust your gut. And if it's the wrong decision, then you know that you need to adjust whatever your internal thinking is that makes you trust your gut on something. You know what I mean? Like if you ask yourself, what is my internal dialogue? Like, how do I talk to myself? Do I talk to myself in a negative way, in a positive way? Is it like a mixture of things? Like, how do I talk to myself? You have to have that honest conversation with yourself before you can figure out where to go from there. Second step is recognize that you have a choice. You understand the mindset voice inside of you is telling you not to try to protect yourself from failure. So now, choice is up to you. Will you or won't you listen to that voice? Next one is talk back with a growth mindset voice. Instead of falling for the fixed mindset voice, talk back to your internal dialogue with a new mindset. Say things like, not sure if I can do it, but it's worth a try. Or if I don't try at all, then it's a failure. There's no dignity in that. This new voice will help you drown out the fixed mindset voice that's crowding your thoughts and ambitions. Do you guys, what's your internal dialogue like when it comes to setbacks and failures? How do you talk to yourself? Do you say those types of things, or what do you guys say to yourselves?
I'm laughing because I'm thinking of what Adrian made me. And it says, be nice to yourself, you dumb bitch. And that's my internal dialogue to myself, because I always tell myself that you're being an idiot. Get your shit together. I
have that wood carving that my buddy Raider made for me that I was in Baghdad with, and it says, don't give up on your stupid fucking dreams. And that, again, that's how I talk to myself. That's how I have the same type of inner voice. And with all the situations that I've been in and the crisis situations and going into some really sketchy, questionable, scary environments, my mentality, I say to myself, like, well, here it goes.
Today's the day.
Fuck it. Like, here, I mean, because I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. I mean, I might fail, whatever. You know what I mean? I've failed before. I'm all right. You know what I mean? Like, failure is necessary for growth. And if I fail, I'm going to get to learn what I get to do differently. I genuinely feel like I learn more from failure than I do from success. Success is fine. It's great. You know, it's validating. It feels good. But when you fail, like when I fail at something, so like, for example, we did in like a class. We did a class recently, and like next to nobody showed up. And I think I was proud of myself in this moment, because a few years ago, I would have had that deep, heavy, just shameful feeling that Ashley was talking about earlier. Like I would have just felt so terrible and embarrassed, but like I really didn't. I was like, well, okay, here's what I need to do next time. Like I could do this better. I could change this. This could go like this. And I just immediately start thinking about how things can get better. And then when you start doing that, like you're like, oh, that's what those successful people are talking about. They're like, when you fail, you got to sit there and be like, all right, what do I got to do differently? I got to do something differently. I can't just sit here and fucking cry about this. Like I got to figure out how to make this better. Now I know that this doesn't work. So now I can move on to the next thing. Like that's a growth mindset. It's very important. And then practicing. So put yourself in situations that are challenging to help you practice your new voice. School is a great place to start to practice a mindset of growth. With new challenges around every corner, there are many opportunities to thrive from setbacks and trials. I wanted to practice public speaking before I really started doing the nonprofit stuff. So I became an ordained minister. I started doing weddings. That's where I first met Brad. I didn't marry him.
Well, no.
Brother-in-law.
Amanda married me.
Yeah, I know. That's what I meant. I meant like you and I didn't get married. I married your sister and a friend of ours, a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Doing that kind of stuff gave me an opportunity to practice like public speaking. So because I felt like that anxiety that I sort of had with that was a setback for me. So I definitely think putting yourself in situations that are specifically challenging to that thing that you have a hard time with, it's going to help you practice that new voice for sure. Next one's find outside help. Cultivating a growth mindset isn't something that can be done alone. You'll need outside help to offer encouragement and advice. So you definitely want to find mentors and friends that will be with you when you face challenges to help you navigate them and keep positive talk coming your way. As you listen to others with a positive mindset about your situations, you'll start to say those things to yourself as well. And the next one is stop seeking approval of others. Easier said than done, but very important. While you need outside help, you also need to stop worrying about the approval of others. Comparing yourself to others, focusing on how you look to others, and hiding failures are all hindering you from developing that growth mindset and finding success. Keep focusing on yourself and how you can grow. And stop worrying if others are looking at you and your progress, because chances are nobody is. I mean, yeah, seeking approval of others is another thing that I think in my mid-30s, I'm starting to figure out. I'm really starting to get a better handle on because, again, back to what I was saying earlier, you just meet some people and you're just like, all right, you're just not at my table. And again, that's nothing against you. It's just you're just not at my table, and that's totally fine. I don't need your approval. I've made it this far in my life without your approval. I'll be fine, which is why I totally understand and love and respect why like 90-year-olds don't give a fuck about anything. They're just like, don't even talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, I totally understand them. Here's another one I really like. Replace the word failing with learning. So as you come to recognize that failing, it's just a new way of learning, you'll stop being so afraid of it. By embracing failure as an opportunity to continue learning and growing, you'll be on your way to understanding what a growth mindset's really about. And then lastly, you need to take growth mindset action. So you need to follow through on the actions your new mindset voice tells you to take on. Sometimes you might not succeed. That's okay. As you practice talking to yourself with a growth mindset and follow through on the actions, you'll cultivate the mindset of growth that you desire over time. Again, it's not like perfect. It's not A to B and then you're good. It's not like I'm just going to do this and then everything's totally fine. It takes a lot of work. Like you have to consistently work and deal with setback after setback after setback. And that's what I respect a lot about like just American culture. Like I feel like that's what American culture is, because it's a melting pot of people that have all gone through setbacks and failures and left their countries and dealt with this, that, and the other and came here to build something new and then dealt with more setbacks and trying to come to a new country and making this what it is. And then we deal with 9/11, hurricanes, tornadoes, all sorts of other shit. And we always find our way to get through it no matter what. You know what I mean? Like that as a whole is like that growth mindset action, I feel like. So what else do we think about failures and setbacks?
Well, Brad doesn't. He doesn't fail.
I don't fail.
Brad's never failed.
Nor do I have setbacks. I have just been on a straight path of awesomeness since day one.
Sucks to suck, man.
Sucks to suck.
Other than the White Sox thing.
Got him.
3-21. 3-21.
They're 3-21.
They are 3-21.
Who did they beat?
They beat the Braves once.
I feel like you're lying.
They beat the Indians once.
I know somebody told. Yeah, I knew I knew that they lost 20 games. That's impressive that they lost 21 games.
They're failing.
They are. See, it's a setback. It's a setback being a White Sox fan.
Let's be real, being a Chicago sports fan,
That's a big
most
setback.
of the time, it's kind of a setback.
I don't know. I'm feeling the Hawks are going to have another run here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think so.
They need to lower their
I'm
tickets.
hoping the Chicago Bears made enough player moves this year that they're going to be a fun team to watch too.
Maybe.
So on today's episode, we defined setbacks and failures.
Yeah,
we
we
talked
did.
about how unresolved setbacks and failures can lead to some pretty significant mental health issues. We gave you some tips on how to build resilience and develop a growth mindset, and talked about some of our many, many, many failures. So remember, setbacks and failures are truly opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Be proactive in seeking support, building resilience, and fostering a positive mindset as they navigate the ups and downs of life. I want to thank everybody again for tuning into this episode on overcoming setbacks and dealing with failure. So please make sure, if you get a chance, to share your own experiences with us. You can email me at ericp@projectheadspaceandtiming.org. You can reach out to our Facebook page, the I'm F.I.N.E podcast, or Project Headspace and Timing, or you can email us at on our website at projectheadspaceandtiming.org. Thanks for being on here, babe. You got anything else you want to say?
Just remember, guys, be nice to yourself, you dumb bitch.
Be nice to yourself. Nobody cares about your stupid fucking dreams. No, that's not what it says.
No,
it says don't give up on your stupid fucking dreams. The other one would be way worse.
Yeah, way
Don't
worse.
say the first one.
No.
Don't give up on your stupid
Somebody
fucking
cares.
dreams.
I care.
Also, June 1st, Heroes, Hogs, and Hot Rods.
Yeah.
It's coming up about a month away, our festival.
I'm so
Very excited for that. Our keynote speaker is going to be Medal of Honor recipient Alan Lynch, which is pretty badass.
Hell yeah.
He's a really cool dude. It's going to be a great event. We have a barbecue competition, a car show, craft vendors, open container with alcohol, live bands, strongman competition. The Air Force is bringing their fucking flight simulator.
Mental health and resource fair.
Mental health and veteran resource fair. Free event. Super fun.
I'll be there.
Brad will be there.
The blind guy will be there.
The blind guy.
I won't see you,
Maybe we'll make our shirts for that event. Like maybe we'll release our I'm F.I.N.E podcast t-shirts at the festival.
Don't tease us.
That would be cool.
but that would be sweet.
We still got to do that.
Yes, we do.
So we have that coming up. Don't forget, if you're in Kankakee County, we have 3 weekly peer support groups for veterans and a monthly spousal veteran support group that just started.
And it's open to all spouses
Yeah.
of veterans. Or
Veterans and
military
service members in general. Yep. And that's once a month. If you have any questions about that, again, go to projectheadspaceandtiming.org or our Facebook page, and you can get more information on when those are. But until next time, we hoped that we helped you go from being freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional to truly being fine.